Welcome to the Mary Jane Mack Show with holistic intuitive wellness expert Mary Jane Mack. Her vast knowledge coupled with her innate intuitive abilities have made her a much sought after holistic intuitive recognized as a leader on the cutting edge of holistic healthcare and the creator of TAPS, the Accelerated Performance System. Tune in to learn how your body has all of the answers and discover the power to transform physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Let your body become vibrantly healthy on every level. Call in during the show at 800-930-2819 to connect with Mary Jane directly and find out what thousands of clients from across the country with every physical issue imaginable have discovered. Now here's your host, Mary Jane Mack.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Mary Jane Mack Show on Transformation Talk Radio. I'm your co-host, Nancy, and I'm here with Mary Jane, and today we have a very special guest. For those of you who don't know about Mary Jane is a holistic intuitive. She has an office in Issaquah, Washington. However, you do not have to live in the state of Washington to become a client, as she has clients all over the United States, including Spain, England. So if you have a health issue, definitely give our office a call and Mary Jane will go ahead and get you all fixed up and taken care of. So today, with our very special guest, I am going to let Mary Jane introduce our guest. It's going to be a very exciting show. So with that, Mary Jane, take it away.
Well, thank you, Nancy. Today, our guest is Sharik Peck. He's the CEO of Rezzimax. And I know you've all heard me talk about the Pro Tuner before. Well, now we have the master on. So it's going to be a great show to get all this updated information and all his knowledge. He's just amazing. Sharik has a degree in physical therapy from the University of Utah and a master's degree in counseling from Utah State University. So he's had quite an interesting life and very passionate about what he does and about helping those in pain, and not only in pain, to help all those who are not living their best life, from infants to whatever age you are. There's always something that you do to be better. And I'd love to introduce Sharik and have him tell his story. Sharik, thank you for being on the show, and we're looking forward to all the exciting news to share with people. Many of my clients are already using the Rezzimax with great success, and I know you have a lot more information to be able to share with them.
I am so delighted to be here with you, and it's nicer to see you in person. You have such a beautiful persona about you, but it's nice to be able to visit with you on Zoom here as well and on the radio show. Thank you for the invitation. Can't wait to share things about our tuner. It's been a lifelong journey of injuries, illnesses, and things that have brought me to the point where I'm at to be able to understand some things that can really help the human nervous system heal. And I guess that's how we got introduced to each other a few months back in Florida. And I don't know where you want me to start, but I could talk all day about these beautiful resonant energies that help people heal.
How about starting just a little bit about how it came about, how you developed this?
Be happy to start there. You'd have to go back even a little bit further because years ago I suffered a stroke and had to learn to walk again, learn to talk again. A few years before that, I had suffered a spine injury. I'd broken my back. And a few years before that, I'd broken my neck. So I've kind of had a really active life full of injuries. And I guess a large part of my desire to help the human family was bred out of these experiences that I'd had. I wanted to become a physical therapist so that I could learn to help people get their lives back again, as I had been helped to do. And so fast forward now a few years, I'd been in practice for, I don't know, close to 18 years or so. And one night I woke up with this understanding that has never left me since that moment. The understanding was this: And I guess to back up even a little further, you got to realize that I'd made this a matter of prayer, and I'd put it out there to every smart person that I could imagine. How can I help my brothers and sisters here in the human family even more? How can I help those in chronic pain? How can I help people get back? And one night I woke up with this concept that just was an understanding of the fact that vibration has an energy that can either heal or hurt the human nervous system. But I knew from that very moment that I needed to figure out every way that I could use a vibrational energy to help heal the human nervous system. And wow, fast forward a few years later, we've created some techniques and some technologies that are going all over the world. I'm so grateful that our paths crossed, because you saw our device one day and you said, I know how that will help a lot of people. And I think that you just had that understanding that that we're trying to teach so many people. Here's a tool that creates energy for the human nervous system. Now, if you can apply it in just the right ways, you can get the nervous system to balance and you can improve a person's health. And we've spent years figuring out all of the components of what needs to go into a perfect little vibration device. And you've got one there.
I do. I don't. I mean, I have it in the other room right now. Do you have yours?
I have mine. I always have one here.
Yeah.
It's been a beautiful tool. You've got the new Pro 2 model.
Right.
And we just came out with that a month ago. It has been exciting to hear all the feedback that we've been getting from people for the continual changes that we're making to help the human nervous system more and more and more to achieve a best healing state. And that state comes because of the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is the best healing system in the body. It really is the driver for what we call the autonomic nervous system, the part that you don't get to think about, like breathing. It just happens. You don't think about breathing. It just happens. And blinking, and all of these are automatic functions, your heart beating. But these are controlled in large part by that whole vagus nerve and that vagal system. So everything about your body that's set up to heal and help you live to another day and create a family, all of those things are driven by that vagal nerve system. And we just created one of the best systems that we know of to be able to help that system work better.
And that's what I've learned is that through all my seminars with Master Circle and doing Brain Tap and all the other amazing speakers about how important it is to take care of your brain. Right now, everybody's taking care of their body and their organs and doing whatever they do for that. But it's really about your brain. And if you don't take care of that brain, then you keep going around in the same cycle and repeating the same thing. And that's what I found with my clients. They would say, well, how come I get this gallbladder thing? How come I keep getting the same thing over and over? And that's when I had technology now to offer them to change that. And that's why it's so fascinating to be able to talk to clients now about the autonomic nervous system and the vagus nerve and the difference that makes.
It's an incredible system. And one of the most beautiful things about that system is that you have the ability to directly affect it to get it to function better. And we didn't know that. In all my years of being a physical therapist, I didn't realize how you could hack into that system to get it to improve its ability to function. And it's remarkable how improving the function of that whole system, how it helps everything in the body to be able to heal better. Sets you up so that you can sleep well, sets you up so that you can digest your food and make the substances that your brain needs to be able to function. All of that happens because that system, that beautiful system, is inside of every one of us.
Exactly. And it's so, and having the tools to be able to change that when you're out of balance and do it easily is just, to me, it's just amazing, because what you have on your website and YouTube are these amazing videos that cover everything, anything, any type of issue that someone could have, and show exactly how to use the Rezzimax on it and what to do for it.
Even if you want to use it on horses or animals, we've tried to capture just all kinds of content to be able to help a person be able to deliver that help wherever they need it and however they need it.
Yeah, I've used it on horses and I've used it on my dog, and it works great. Yeah.
I have to say, I also have a Pro Tuner. I love it. I had come back from Florida. I surprised Mary Jane at one of her meetings. Came back, and as you're sleeping on the plane, you think you're sleeping for hours, but it's 10 minutes, but you're always in that awkward position. Came home, got off the plane. I was like a train wreck. And Mary Jane was still gone. I got my Pro Tuner out. I had the little pouch, put it down my back, worked my neck, and it was amazing. That sharp pain and the kinkiness I had, gone. So I also love the Pro Tuner, Sharik.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I have a bum knee, so I often will strap it to my leg and wear it for several hours around the house. So it is an amazing tool, and it's something that can help everyone. Just like Mary Jane said, there's no age limit. It's easy to use, and with your videos, you can't go wrong. You can't mess it up. So thank you for creating such a wonderful tool that's able to help everyone, that we can do it at home by ourselves.
And thank you for that. I want to make one little disclaimer to make sure that everybody knows it's not going to help everybody, but that's why we have a 60-day, 100% money back guarantee on it. It's going to help you, or we're going to buy it back. I don't want people having it if it's not helping them. And occasionally we have to send one, we have to refund one for somebody, but I don't mind doing that because I want it to get into the hands of those that it can help. But if it can't help you, at least it's one more thing that a person's tried.
Yeah. But the chances of it helping are, the thing is, once you get it, you have to use it too. You have to do what you need to do every day and follow the videos and how it works. And I think the videos are fabulous. So again, maybe you could talk a little more about how, what the main techniques are that we do to use the Rezzimax.
Some of the favorite things that we do with the device are all geared up around the head and face. The reason for that is these are the areas of the body that are hypersensitive, super sensitive. You talk about, if I take a little hair off my head and I drop it somewhere on my body, I can't sense it. I can't feel it. But if I drop it on my tongue, or heaven forbid, it drops in my eye, holy cow, I can hardly stop moving until I can get it off of those sensitive areas. Well, the fact that it's so sensitive in some of these areas here creates a beautiful pathway to get into the brain and to improve brain function, because we can apply the device into some of those super, super sensitive areas, like above your eyes or in between your eyes, and we're delivering very balanced resonance and energy straight into the brain through these very sensitive points. One of our favorites, for example, is to take the tongs of our device, which just splits the energy and hits 2 points with it, and to put those right on top of our eyebrows, or to put it inside the mouth where it can hit out into the masseter muscle, these big ones that you use for chewing. And it just rubs against the edges of there with that gentle resonance. Because it's so sensitive inside the mouth, the brain finds balance almost immediately. We rarely have an individual with migraine headaches or severe chronic pains there that doesn't benefit in some way by hitting some of those very sensitive pressure points. And then some of the other things that we've found extremely beneficial are using the wings on our device to scrape and to rub into places that are hard to reach, like the neck. When that thing gets fired up, and for those of us who have broken our neck in the past, we've always got this chronic tension in there. Well, if we can use the wings on our device and scrape through, rub through some of those trigger point areas, it just increases the blood flow immediately and improves motion, and a lot of the pain just disappears. We use that same exact approach using those wings on peripheral neuropathy, and it wakes up the brain's connections to the feet or the fingers and to some of these parts that have not been getting great communication with the brain. It helps wake up those communication patterns, and the results are almost immediate for many of our people that have chronic conditions where they're not feeling and sensing part of their body.
Yeah, and it's something that you get relief right away, but it's something you have to keep repeating to, like you say, Sharik, most things are 6 weeks. You need to do it every day and follow through so that you're retraining your brain and changing that, whatever it is.
What's really nice about that, though, is it's not designed nor intended to be a pill. It's not something that you're going to have to use every day. In fact, many of our clients, by using it
welcome back to Great Day, Washington.
If they'll use it every day for just 5 to 10 minutes, whether they have a migraine headache or not, they oftentimes will learn how to shut off a migraine headache before it even starts. But it's that learning process, that teaching of the brain these resonant energies so that it learns to function better. Eventually, we've had individuals that can start having a headache and shut it off without even using the tool, just simply because their brain has learned through these patterns how to be able to use its own chemicals to calm their nervous system down and put them back into a healing state.
Exactly. That's why it's so exciting, is that you don't have to use it all the time, because you're retraining your brain and waking up your brain again. It's very exciting. Yeah.
It is an amazing piece of technology. And with that, we are going to take a short break. You're listening to the Mary Jane Mack Show on Transformation Talk Radio. We'll catch you on the other side. Welcome back to the Mary Jane Mack Show on Transformation Talk Radio. I'm your co-host, Nancy. I'm here with Mary Jane. We have our very special guest, Sharik Peck of Rezzimax Tuner. And with that, Mary Jane.
Well, we're happy to be here and have Sharik here. And I would love for Sharik to share some of these amazing stories. And that gives you an idea of all the different types of people that, well, I feel anyone can benefit by using the Rezzimax. It's not whether you're healthy or you have issues, you could still benefit. But Sharik has so many amazing stories that it kind of just makes you think about all the wonderful things that can be done. So Sharik, how about some of those stories?
I'd love to share some. Now, I just got back this week from Ecuador, and I went down to Ecuador on a humanitarian trip. I was invited to come down there and be a part of a medical team. The president of Ecuador was involved in getting a team of us to go out to the Galapagos Island and help a lot of people there. Well, during that experience, I was able to bring and donate to the people in a very poor area about 40 of our devices. And I love being able to teach professionals and teach others how to use these so that they can help people. And one great example, I have so many great examples, but there was a fellow that could not lift his arm above shoulder height. He had spent 9 months trying to rehabilitate his arm after surgery, and he just could not get the muscles to work right. He couldn't raise his arm out to the side. He couldn't turn it, couldn't twist it, couldn't reach over his head. And we sat down with this fellow, and I started showing the therapist that was working with him how to use our tool to unlock the patterns in his shoulder. His shoulder was frozen up. Here we would call it frozen shoulder. And I showed him how to unlock it and showed him what to do on the first day. The fellow came back in the next day and he said, well, tell me how your arm's doing. And the fellow lifted his arm up and overhead to almost full motion for the first time since before he had injured this, quite some time before. And the therapist, his jaw dropped and he could not believe what he was seeing with this fellow. But this is the power of putting that resonant energy on there that just soothes the nervous system and gets it to be able to start functioning better. We had another lady on this trip. She was just delightful. She was about 70 years of age and had suffered a stroke 9 or 10 months earlier. And in this stroke, she'd lost the ability to speak. And she could try and make some noise, she could make sound, but she couldn't get her tongue to function. And so for 3-4 days straight, I worked with her and her therapist there to, we would use things like essential oil on the tongue. And then we would use our tuner right on her tongue and work over these areas. And if you go to my Facebook page, Rezzimax, you'll see a little video that we did with her. And at the end of this video, I have her sharing, she's talking and you can hear and understand her. But I can't tell you how many times she was crying because it was such a relief to her to be able to finally communicate again. As we woke back up her tongue and started to get it to improve, she was able to start eating some foods and swallow better without getting it stuck. Those are just a couple of things, but some of the funnest are working with parents with children or adult children with autism. Because of the ability to get the right and left hemispheres of the brain communicating better with our device, we have seen individuals with autism begin to improve their speech. We've seen them be able to start making better eye contact. And all of these signs that the brain is functioning better are helping children and others be able to change dramatically. Several individuals have told me that their child, instead of throwing tantrums all the time, has learned to regulate their emotional cycles and that if they ever do become stressed and upregulated, they can grab our tuner, calm their child down, and it changes them dramatically. I've had other parents tell us that it's been a game changer for bedwetting and for other things that you just wouldn't, I wouldn't have thought that our device could be used for these types of problems. I was just going after solving the chronic pain dilemma, which is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, 56 million Americans are suffering from migraine headaches on a regular basis. That's what I was trying to solve, but we're finding that it's helping with people that have problems sleeping and people that are going through cancer treatment. They're being able to calm their nervous system and find peace in the tremendous struggle that life is for all of us. Oh, I could go on for days telling stories about how it's helped people learn to walk again after paralysis and just so many things.
Well, and concussions are such a common thing today. And you see people who, when you ask them a little more detail, you hear what their concerns are, like when they first come to me. And then I started asking, well, did you ever have an injury? And then go take it a little further, and it winds up, oh yeah, they had an injury as a child, then another injury playing sports. And so by the time they're 18, they've had 4 or 5 major concussion type injuries. And now they're having all these issues that they don't even relate to that necessarily. And so it's like, this is like a must in order to help change that. I mean, it's a tool that can definitely help them to change that and get them balanced. Just like you said, there's so many stories out there. And even people with like with MS and Parkinson's. I mean, so tell us some more stories, because that's what makes the difference for people.
One individual who had a spinal cord injury from a bicycle accident, and you can find her video on our YouTube channel as well. But she, in her rehabilitation was trying to get the ability to walk again. But she'd had such an injury that she'd, lost all of that functioning, lost all the sensation. We started using our tuner on scraping her foot in the area where she had lost all sensation. And, the first day that we did that was very uncomfortable for her. But she said, oh my gosh, I can feel it. And within minutes, she was able to start moving her toe. And she had not been able to move her toe or feel anything down that leg since the injury had occurred on her bicycle. She'd been, hit by a car when she was traveling mighty quickly on a bicycle. So anyway, there's, oh my goodness, there's so many wonderful experiences. One of my other favorites has been to watch, I went to Florida again recently to help a family of a young man who had a serious brain injury 2 years ago. He was racing motocross and had a bad wreck and ended up with a severe brain injury. And the family brought me out there to spend a day with him. And I'm not used to going around the country and around the world to work on just one person at a time. But as they were talking to me, they said, look, your machine has made such a difference for our son in the 6 months we've been using it. And I'm sorry if I get a little choked up on this, but their 22-year-old son went from staring at a wall all the time, drooling. That was his constant state, no interaction with family, no interaction. He was in a pure vegetative state for almost 2 years until they started using our device on him. In fact, they described his tongue as being frozen in his mouth. He couldn't move it. And so he's being tube fed, all of these very difficult challenges. They started using our device around his mouth and even on his tongue. And 6 months later, he now has the ability to move his tongue all over the, place. He can make eye contact. He's starting to be able to say words. These were things that, the family was under the understanding that he got the best abilities he was going to get by 1 year after his injury. Here he is 2 years later. He can now blow through a straw. He can now suck through a straw. He's now eating soft foods, and that was impossible 6 months ago.
Wow.
I just love seeing that.
Yeah.
Those are ways that when we created this event, this device, we didn't even foresee some of the ways that it would be used to help people, but it blows us away every day to see evidence of how people are being helped with it all over the world.
Yeah, I know, it's very exciting. And some of the people could get an idea of just watching some of the videos on YouTube and Facebook, because there's so many stories of little children with little brain injuries. And the moms are doing all the work. They've done the physical therapy and everything, but it's a constant, those moms work all day long doing the therapy on those little babies. And it makes a difference. And it gives them a different tool that can change things. And so it's very exciting. How about the gal with the diverticulitis?
That was a fun one. That was one that you and I saw together, wasn't it?
Yeah.
She was a chiropractor that came to the conference, and she had severe abdominal problems for years. But I think the point where we saw her, she was doubled over, just trying to get through and learn what she could in the conference. She wanted to be there so desperately, but the excitement and everything else, her stomach was just in severe distress. And so we worked on her with some gastroparesis techniques. These are techniques to wake up the brain's connections with the GI system. And there's a video showing these techniques on our YouTube channel. Gastroparesis, a little hard to spell, but if you can type that in, you'll find a neat little video showing you the techniques here. We did these techniques on her and saw her the next day, and she said, I did not believe that this was possible. I went almost 8 hours with very minimal discomfort in my stomach after you worked on those techniques. The relief was both immediate, you could see it in her face and in her posture, but it was long lasting. She said, I've got to have this tool because I've got to do it every day until my GI system is functioning better. And that's been almost a month now. I got a note from her just a couple days ago, and she said, you know what? I am doing so much better, remarkably better from chronic diverticulitis. That is the stuff of nightmares, because you can never be too far away from a bathroom wherever you go.
Right.
And but to feeling so much better in just such a short period of time. Now, we recommended that she use some of these gastroparesis techniques, these stomach techniques, daily, several times a day, until her nervous system started getting the hang of the frequencies and the energy. And healing the gut and healing that system, it takes time. But in a month, to have such a remarkable transformation. So when she sent me a note the other day, she said, I got to get a bunch more of these for my clinic.
Yeah, it's the proof is in the pudding. I'll tell you, one day I was down at the ranch. I have my horses at a ranch in California. And when I go down there, we ride for 8 hours. We do cattle. We do a lot. And by the time I got in bed that night, my body, I could feel every part of my body. And I just have my Rezzimax handy, and I just start scraping from my feet, scrape both my legs, my whole body is what I did. I just scraped up, and then I took it and I put it underneath my hip. And within 30 minutes, within a short time, I had no pain, and I was able to sleep and be very comfortable. And I woke up the next morning just feeling great. When you haven't ridden in a month, and then you go ride and you do all that, it's just a little bit different, but it was great. It was great.
It's a wonderful tool to help in the recovery process. And boy, anybody who's spent 8 hours on a horse and doesn't do that on a regular basis, you cannot believe the soreness that comes in. But the beauty that provides for your brain is worth every ache and pain, isn't it?
Absolutely. Now, my granddaughter, she has a cerebral hypoplasia. She was born with a brain injury. And her thing is, she loves the Rezzimax. It's like in our house, it's out all the time. She comes every weekend. But with that brain injury, they have a constipation issue. And so I've taught her, she uses the Rezzimax on other parts of her body. She does the 7 points. But she'll pick it up and just do it over the belly button with the little Nerf ball and that helps her. And she just does it on her own because she knows that it helps her. It's not like you say you do this for that. She just knows. And so that's been really, really great too.
Well, it's the first thing she reaches for when she gets to the house.
Yeah.
Where's the Rezzimax? Where's the Rezzimax? And we had a nerve ball because before you came out with your cool little brain. So yeah, she grabs her nerve ball, gets that Rezzimax, and sits on the couch and she just does her thing.
Yeah, she knows how to work it totally. So it's good.
A child at age 7 can do that, or a child at age 3 or 4 can do that on their own. It's a beautiful, simple little tool.
Yeah.
But it's also complex. I remember I received a note from Dr. Michael Trafer from the Apex Brain Centers, just an amazing physician back in North Carolina. And he sent me this note one day, and he said, at this point, he's been using our tool for about 3 years. And he said, I'm just always amazed at learning something new that can be done with this little tool of yours. He says it's like a fine instrument. The more I play it, the more I work with it, the more I find the subtle abilities that it has to help me get a brain back on track.
Yeah. What about post-COVID patients, like who have brain fog, and a lot of them have migraines?
Oh yeah, migraines are huge after the COVID insult. But also energy management is one of the biggest problems for people that we're seeing after, the post-COVID fog that they're describing. This is an energy management thing. And I believe that COVID takes part of that whole vagus nerve system that's so important to get us to heal, and it takes it offline. So it's like functioning with, a quart and a half of oil not in the system. It makes it so the car doesn't quite lubricate everything right, and is going to have problems over time. Well, using this device to get the vagus nerve literally a tuning point helps people to be able to decrease that brain fog and improve their brain function. It also helps take the energy issue and change it dramatically. You can use our device for 5 or 6 minutes and give yourself a jolt of energy that's better than any caffeinated drinks. And we use this energy process quite a bit when we have somebody with MS or any other chronic condition where they're having a difficulty with their energy management. Some of the settings on it are designed to wake up the central nervous system, get it all communicating, and put it into a balanced state. And some of our folks with MS tell me that they can get 4 to 6 to 8 hours of normal energy with use of the device that they normally can't get, which is making it hard to attend kids' games and all the other things that they need to do in life.
So when you're talking about the energy, so what techniques are you talking about they need to do? What is that? What is the technique for that?
Well, one of the techniques is what you described right at the stomach, because that's the bottom level in the body that the vagus nerve goes to. So you can put it right there at the stomach and do some of those techniques for gastroparesis and get the nervous system to find balance between right and left sides of that whole vagal system down at those lower reaches. You could also put it at your feet and send that resonant energy from the longest nerve endings of the body and be able to find that balance and give it an energy boost as well. But in particular, there are some of the things that we've designed into the Tuner Pro or the Tuner Pro 2 are these algorithms. They're patterns. And we have 4 patterns built into the device. One of them, this red one, is designed to wake up and kind of yank the chain of the central nervous system. Well, we'll do that for somebody that has MS or energy management or COVID. We'll wake up their central nervous system, and then we'll immediately put it back into balance by running a blue algorithm, which is more calming, or a green algorithm, which is to speed up the central nervous system and put it back into a balanced, regular wave pattern. It's designed to mimic waves of the ocean, this little pattern, and it just puts a person back into a soothing, brain happy state. So we built a lot of things into it just that are designed to help get the nervous system back on track without you really even having to think about it.
Yeah, it's so easy. Nancy, why don't you tell people how they can get the Rezzimax?
If you're interested, and everybody should get a Rezzimax. I mean, the two things I love the most, the Rezzimax and the brain tap. Give our office a call at 888-777-4232, or you can shoot me an email at info@maryjanemack.com. Got them here in the office. Or you can visit the website at maryjanemack.com. And we have them in the office, but they have been flying out as soon as we got them. So I do have some available, and would love to get yours shipped. And they are the Pro Tuner 2. We have the new model, thanks to Sharik sending those to us. So very excited.
So what else you got, Sharik, for how about TMJ? TMJ, that goes along with all the jaw stuff. And I've got to say, I had a client who had the tick, one blank, the nerve pain in her jaw and
trigeminal neuralgia.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, that was before the Pro Tuner, and I was able to use light technology and some other things, and she never had to go on medication, and we were able to pull her through it. Then I learned about the Rezzimax, and I came home from that meeting and I sent her an email immediately, and she got it. And for her, she just had to start it out slow, on real low, because of not to stimulate the nerve pain. But it was totally a TMJ thing. And actually early in her life, she was strangled. So she had this neck issue. So it was amazing what the Pro Tuner did for her, and continued to heal that nerve. And when she went to the doctor, he was amazed that she never had to go on medication or do something more. So it was great.
You know, Mary Jane, there are more of these in dental practices than any other practice.
Yes.
And it's simply because of all that it does for the craniofacial pain. But I love working with things like trigeminal neuralgia and these chronic pain problems that are suicide diagnoses. I mean, trigeminal neuralgia, fully a third of individuals who have that condition just end it because they're trying to get away from the pain. It's so excruciating. So kudos to you for being able to help her avoid some of those nasty medications that they try and drug people up to just get them to be able to function. But our tool is designed to be able to help get that trigeminal nerve. What's beyond it is probably going back to her earlier experience. Post-traumatic stress is one of the biggest conditions associated with TMJ. It's the stress response of the human nervous system is that jaw clenching down and all of those nerves going on fire because it feels like we're under attack. So not only is it helping calm down her trigeminal neuralgia, it's helping her heart and brain function better through the traumatic experiences. And someday you'll sit down and you'll talk to her and you'll just ask her, tell me what feels different about your past experiences. And she'll say, I never really thought about that. My jaw feels a lot better, but actually I feel better about what I've been through in life. And I didn't expect that. She'll say that to you.
It's true, because in the past she would bring that up very often, and she hasn't. I haven't asked that specific question, but it's been totally different. She always would refer back to that, so we'd work on it in another way. Yeah, so that's great. So anything you've got you want to wrap this up with, Sharik?
I love helping people. I think that should be pretty evident, but I'm always happy to jump on and do a Zoom call with people that are struggling. Any of your clients that are struggling, any of, I'm happy to do that because everybody is so different. And I just want them to be able to get the help that they need. And if our tool's not the one that can help them, by golly, we're happy to buy it back. But if it can help them, I want to help them maximize their abilities. That's why we have so many videos out there and ways to help people.
And people are using it all over the world. That's what's amazing. It's not, and I know all the top neurologists, chiropractors in the country, all use that along with their techniques in healing. So it's a major part of the system in order to get people to be the best they can be. So
it's a beautiful tool.
Yeah, thank you so much for being on the show. And Nancy, I want you to give out our phone number and everything again.
All right. I'd like to thank Sharik too. And I also think it's very commendable that you're willing to take the time to talk to clients or to get on a Zoom call to help people get through whatever they're going through. I mean, that's pretty amazing. If you'd like to give our office a call, it is 888-777-4232. You can always visit maryjanemack.com. I'd like to thank Sharik for being on with us today and telling such fabulous stories. And I do have to say, it is an amazing piece of technology. It truly is. And it can be a life changer. I'd like to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and Happy Holiday. And let's all keep our fingers crossed that 2022 is going to be a fabulous year. So thank you all for listening to the Mary Jane Mack Show on Transformation Talk Radio. We'll be with you next year. Take care, everyone.
You've been listening to the Mary Jane Mack Show with holistic, intuitive wellness expert Mary Jane Mack. Tune in every month and peel your layers like an onion into the healthier you. Learn with Mary Jane Mack how to achieve wellness rather than curing disease. Mary Jane has a remarkable ability to intuitively identify what's going on in the body, what it needs to be well, and how to make that change. She's also worked with thousands of clients and their pets from across the country with every physical illness imaginable. Make an appointment with her now by visiting maryjanemack.com or call 888-777-4232, 888-777-4232.